Hi guys, this is Play It Again. I am Ginger.
And I am Mike, and once again, it's Saturday night at the movies.
This time I indulged for cheese popcorn, guys. So I'm going to have like Cheetos fingers and Cheetos lips and perhaps a little Cheetos dust on my boobs later on.
That's just for me later.
You think I'm sharing with you?
You can't lick your chest, but I can.
What makes you think I can't lick my chest?
All right, this is just going way off the rails.
Okay, it's movie time, and despite our opening conversation, it is not X-rated movies. So, darn it.
Right.
Our last trailer reaction was fun, at least for us, and fun for at least a couple of you. So we decided to do it again, but this time you chose classic movies.
Classic
which we've
trailers
actually seen already.
that we have both seen, so we can compare the trailer to our recollections of the movies.
Yeah, I think
That'll
this
be
one's
fun.
going to actually be even more fun because I have way more to say about movies I've already seen.
So I've queued this all up. Ginger has no idea what movies I've selected.
Mike's going to surprise me today. I told him to make sure he picks movies that anybody else has actually seen because he's the king of the obscure.
And I promised her I would, and that I would even include John Hughes, and she thinks she knows what I'll have picked for the John Hughes.
He's going to definitely pick a different one now because he wants to make sure he proves me wrong. So it won't be The Breakfast Club, for sure. Right? Even though
Kings to you, Fernand.
I have some very, very strong feelings about The Breakfast Club. We could talk about that later when I do find out what John Hughes movie you chose.
All right.
But anyway, okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Whenever you are, maestro.
All right, let's begin.
Okay, I guess you're like the MC.
You know what this is yet?
Is it Star Wars?
Nope.
Is it Spaceballs?
Nope.
Amazon Women on the Moon?
No.
Aliens?
Yeah, Alien. The first one.
Guys, honestly, this is exactly what it's like for us when we're actually watching movies. It's terrible. I'm the worst person at the movie theater. This is 1978?
1979.
Close, guys. I was close. Jonesy? Oh. That line still resonates even today.
Mm-hmm.
So that trailer was a little bit chaotic, right? It was a little bit kind of enigmatic.
Yes.
Enough that it would be like, it puts you on the edge of your seat going, what is happening in this movie?
Yeah, like nobody really knew what it was about other than it looked scary.
I've never seen the trailer for that movie. You? No. I mean, in 1979, I was 6. So I didn't even see the movie till way, way later at all.
I mean, I saw the trailer as an adult later, like on
I don't
YouTube
think I've
or
ever
something
seen
before.
it.
But I'm old enough. I was 8 in 1979. I vaguely remember seeing that on the TV.
Oh, no.
And going, no, thank you. I was 8, man. I didn't want to be scared.
Mike doesn't like scary movies, but Ginger loves scary movies, and especially sci-fi thriller types, right? Like the Alien franchise is one of my favorite.
So if you were of age, would that trailer have made you want to go see it?
Probably, because at that time, I grew up watching horror movies, reading horror books. Like by the time I was 12, I had already gotten maybe a dozen or more books into the Stephen King pantheon, right? I read all my dad's books. My dad was a huge horror junkie, so Stephen King, and like I'd already watched The Exorcist by the age of 12. And one of the scariest movies I ever saw was, I think it's called A Ghost Story. Had the woman in it that played the Queen of the Borg in that one
Star Trek movie
that had the Borg in it. I don't even remember which one that was.
It was probably 3 of them. But
the lady that
can't
played
remember.
the Queen of the Borg was in that Ghost Story movie, and it was chilling to watch, right? But by the time I was 12, I was so like completely interested. I remember at the age of 12 sitting down in the middle of the afternoon watching a movie. I think it was called Horror Train with my dad. Like, this was totally in my wheelhouse. So this probably wouldn't have scared me. It probably would have just confused me. The truth is, it does. It puts you on the edge of your seat, but it also looks so chaotic that you kind of aren't even sure what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Which isn't always awesome.
No. It was a different approach. Did you notice there wasn't a single word spoken in that whole trailer? Not a word of voiceover, not a word of dialogue.
No, just that really disconcerting noise that sounded like screaming and sirens, right? Like,
how long has it been since you heard a trailer that didn't start in a
happens.
world?
I've seen a few, but a couple times. Like, it's not very common.
Yeah.
It's true. It has to be done quite right. The thing is, am I correct? I think my recollection is that movie actually didn't do so great at first.
I think you're probably right about
And
that.
then it was one of those ones that kind of grew over time.
Became a cult classic.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, by the time the second one came around, we were all bought in, right? To be fair, in the whole, I guess, lexicon of Alien, the second one's probably a close, my number one choice, but it's close. The first one is a close squeaker, right? But I think I'd have to weigh in that the second one was and this is one of those ones, it's like the Terminator movies, where it deeply divides people on which one was the best one.
Terminator
But
1, Alien.
Yeah.
The sequels were both great,
Yeah.
but it's a whole different genre and not as interesting as
Number
the first
two
ones.
I liked, just because the one made in 1979 sadly is a little bit dated in just aesthetic appeal, right? And that has a lot of influence on me and the kind of movies that I like. But it was chilling enough to watch, and it was compelling enough that it's still definite. Like, I just finished watching the whole quadrilogy, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So, like, I love them all. The only regret I have is that the quadrilogy does not include Alien vs. Predator, which is probably my third favorite one out of the whole catalog. That one's a great movie too. Actually, I really, really love the giant pyramid under the ice sheet in Antarctica lore. That's very compelling to me. So yeah, this was pretty good.
This is a groundbreaking trailer for
it's funny
good
though,
reasons.
because the trailer is kind of meh for me when I know the movie is so great.
All right, and
Right.
that's the interesting comparison.
Right? It's like, did the trailer meet the expectation of the movie? This one, not so much for me.
There's a couple of axes you can judge a trailer on, right? Mm-hmm. Does it
Make you want to see the movie?
Does it make you want to see the movie, just full stop? And secondly, does it actually tell you anything about what the movie's about? Like, how does it relate to the movie?
Yeah, this one really doesn't. But the thing is, one of the things this movie did was it spawned my original complete and utter distrust for robots, which,
Bishop did it in for you.
is very reliable. No, Bishop's in the second one.
Oh, what's he called in this one?
I can't remember his name, but just his face makes you want to punch him. Right? Like, he looks like a weasel. So he was a very good choice for casting. But, like, that experience with an android is exactly how I expect it would go for humanity. So that, and then we jump into the Terminator, and that's where it evolves.
It was all over for Ginger in the 80s.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was never gonna be a robot lover, that's for sure.
All right, shall we move on?
Good choice. Yeah. Did you pick that because I just watched the quadrilogy?
No.
Oh.
I'd forgotten you had until you mentioned it.
Oh, I don't know how you could forget that.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A. California.
Is Daddy coming home soon? Well, we'll see what Santa and Mommy can do, okay?
And New York cop John McClane has come to see his wife.
I missed you.
Instead, save her.
And everybody else.
Within this
That
skyscraper
man could
high above
hench
the
like no
city,
man.
12 terrorists have declared war.
They're about to be taught a lesson against the real use of power.
They're as brilliant
Because I am interested in the $640 million in your vault.
as they are ruthless.
But I'm telling you, you're just going to have to kill me.
Okay.
We do it the hard way.
Now, the last thing McClane wants
Think, damn it, think.
is to be a hero,
Where's Holly? Hey, Tucker! Where?
but he doesn't have a choice.
What does he think he's doing?
Job.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm one of the pieces?
Legitimately the exact experience of bureaucracy you expect.
Who are you then? You are most troublesome for a security guard.
Sorry, wrong guess, huh? Would you like to go for double jeopardy?
But the scores could really
Do
change.
you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
But you just destroyed a building.
Listen, Dwayne T. Johnson.
Situation.
I got some bad news for you. From up here, that look like you're in charge of Jack.
He is alone, he's tired, and he hasn't seen dipping squat from anybody down here.
The soundtrack is killer, man.
Now, how you feeling?
All things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
That's pretty bleak.
And you have it.
Easy, Carl.
Only
Just
John
relax.
can drive somebody that crazy.
He's an easy guy to like. Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs. And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis. Die Hard.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake.
Who knew?
Who knew?
I wish it was coming to the theater near me.
It's definitely coming to your television probably later this afternoon now. It feels almost like cheating to pick a movie that I've seen literally well over 100 times, for sure. I could recite that entire movie from memory, like every line. That's how many times
I just
I've watched
have
that
to
movie.
say, you know that movie was made in the 80s because it's a bunch of Euro trash criminals and Al Leong was still a henchman.
Yeah.
Man owned henching in the 80s and 90s.
It's true. It's true. And it's kind of funny because the first two choices here, we have one that was very kind of almost firmly, even though it was 79, it was still kind of aesthetically firmly placed in the 70s. And then you have this one that couldn't be more 80s if it tried, right? Like between the hair, Holly's hair,
The music.
and the music, right? Like it's crazy. And props to whoever cast that movie because Ellis has got legitimately the most punchable face in Hollywood. He's a guy that you actually one of the
Bobby.
guys that should be a good guy, but you're totally rooting for him to get shot in the face, right? It's like, oh, I can't wait for that guy to get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think Hans Gruber kind of defined rich, classy bad guys
Suave
for
villain.
decades after that, right? Like, how many movies can you think of you've seen where the kind of lead bad guy looked like a cheap copy of Hans Gruber in many ways,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just the debonair, kind of suave and accented and very kind of, what's the word? Casual coolness, right? He defined that, just like the henchman
Right.
defined the henchman genre,
Yeah.
right? Who's your favorite character from that one?
I mean, setting aside McClane.
Yeah, I don't think it's. Yeah, you can't pick John McClane.
Exactly. Well, I just want to clarify the ground
Yeah,
rules.
who's your favorite?
It's got to be Gruber.
Really?
He's
I'm totally with Argyle. Argyle's my guy.
Argyle's
He
cool.
didn't even show up in that trailer. He was ripped off, man, because
Mark's
he's a great
lost.
character.
Mark's lost for that.
For real, actually,
find
he should have
actually-
been in that character.
Kind of that whole trailer is a bit of a miss for me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't capture how the movie actually feels.
Yeah,
Right?
and how good the movie is. Like, it seems a little bit cheesy, sort of like. Wait, I mean, the truth is, the trailer feels very Beverly Hills Cop-ish.
Yeah, it feels much cheaper and tinier than the movie feels to watch.
Right? It's
It
true.
really, it really does.
I thought so too. I was a little disappointed.
Which is probably why I never
would
went to see
still
the movie
totally
back-
watch it because
back
an
then.
action movie with Bruce Willis, I was going to be down no matter what. That's for sure. But the trailer wouldn't be the thing that would make me watch it. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I
It
did-
was kind of cheesy.
I was of age in 1989 to go see it. I was 18, but I didn't.
No? Oh
I didn't see
wow!
it till later
Really?
on video.
Well, I only did because I was poor and I couldn't afford to go to the movies. I had to wait till it came out on video. But I was in the Blockbuster like right on opening day when it came out on video because I wanted it right away for sure. I remember that.
No, I watched the trailer and I had no interest.
Wow.
Actually, I never saw in theater that one, or Lethal Weapon, or Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh wow!
None of them. I didn't see any of those.
I don't
I
think
wasn't
I-
into that kind of movie in
No,
my
I
teens.
didn't either. But still, once again, only because I was poor. If I could have seen it in the theater, I would have. And I didn't really have a boyfriend, so I couldn't get somebody else to pay either.
Didn't get a date.
No. I
Tragic.
had trouble getting dates.
Tragic.
Yeah.
They missed out, let me tell you.
Well, oh, thank you. That's very kind of you.
I haven't missed out, I know. I know what's going down.
I was a little different when I was 18. Actually, at that time, I would have been, what, 17?
1989 or 88, whenever that came out.
15?
15, 16.
Yeah. No, you would have. It was better that you waited.
Oh, okay.
That's for sure. Okay, I'm ready for the next one.
All right.
That one's it's a little bit of a miss for me too. Woo,
Bloody chickens out there. Sorry, guys.
something's happening with our chickens out there.
Something's always happening with our chickens.
Euro trash.
Let's talk business. This guy comes to town every Tuesday. Are you free Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm free Tuesday.
Ooh,
You can't stop what you can't see.
This guy came from the outside. He was a pro. He was fast.
In the art of the kill, Léon was the master.
Somebody's coming up. Somebody's serious.
He never missed a hit. He never got caught.
You're indestructible. Bullets slide off you. You played with him.
And above all else,
I always forget
he
that
never
is in
had a
this.
reason to care. Until now.
I like these calm
that's the king right there. I couldn't believe we didn't see him
My
before.
family was shot down by DEA officers.
3 kids here. One of them is missing. Find her.
Please open the door. Please.
From the director of La Femme Nikita,
Which was a good
Don't
movie.
help me, I'll die tonight. I can feel it.
an innocent girl with no one else to turn to.
What exactly do you do for a living?
Cleaner.
You mean you're a hitman? Cool.
A perfect assassin
I need you to help me, Leon. I want to get those dirtbags who killed my brother.
with someone to finally believe in.
Change ain't good. Remember that, Léon.
I will.
They're about to come face to face with the cop who's crossed the line.
Bring me everyone. What do you mean everyone?
I always forget that this is the movie that's from, but it's so good.
I never forget it. One of Gary Oldman's best roles, and he's had plenty. I've never seen that trailer before either, actually.
I gotta tell you the truth. I know we haven't gone all the way through, but I queued it up so I know what's coming. And of all the ones I went through, this is the one that most makes me want to go watch that movie again. Of all the trailers,
Really?
that trailer, I was like, oh, that's a great movie. I got to see that again.
No.
Everyone.
Well, yes, no, I understand. But you got, okay. So for me, first of all, right off the hop, that narrator, and he was in like all of the movies back in that day, in a world filled with DEA officers, right? That right away, usually when I heard that narration, I was thinking along the lines of like a Lethal Weapon movie where it was going to be a little bit of hijinks, a little bit of dark humor and a lot of action. But now, because I've seen the movie so many times, it's not like that at all.
It's dark.
It's a very dark, very slow sleeper. It's a slow burn. There is action in it, but they're kind of light, or not light, but bright bursts, right? But there's so much other slow, quiet tension in it. It's almost, actually, the truth is, now that I'm older, it almost feels a bit... Don't get me wrong, I love Jean Reno. Love him, like deeply love him, okay? But the French have a very kind of casual attitude about age gaps, right? And when you see the actual movie, the relationship between him and Natalie Portman's character does verge on the feeling
Walks
of
a
sexual
line.
tension,
Walks
right?
a line.
Just a little. There's a little something there that probably feels very natural for French people, but for people who are not within that culture, it looks a little different. And you don't see that at all in the trailer, but it's very poignant when you're watching the movie.
It's not really the quality of the trailer or the representativeness of the trailer that makes me want to watch the movie again. It's simply because I know all those scenes, and when I see that, it's like, oh, that was a great movie. I'd like to watch that again.
Again, but would it make you want to watch it the first time? That's the thing.
That's a harder
It's
question.
hard to say because the trailer looks a little bit cheap compared to what I know the movie is.
I will say
like.
this. I didn't go see it in the theaters, and I would have been old enough to have seen the trailer on TV commercials.
No, I never
for
did
sure.
either. It was long before I ever watched it.
So I guess the answer is it didn't make me go see it in the theater. Now, I was in my teens or 20s when that came out, I think. It's been out, maybe early 30s. It's been out a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably different now at the age of 54.
Definitely.
But I don't know if it would make me go see it now either.
I gotta be honest, if I recall correctly, the first time I actually watched that movie, I didn't really like it a lot. I can't even explain why, because it was so long ago. And I've watched it several times since and fallen in love with it over time as my appreciation for Jean Reno's character has grown. And like, we can thank things like The Equalizer for the way that the whole sort of quiet, brooding, good guy hitman revenge thing has grown on me. But yeah, I don't think I liked it that much. And I've never liked Natalie Portman. To be fair, that's her best role ever. She was excellent in it, especially when you consider she was just a child.
Yeah.
Right? And her acting was actually really good in that, but I've never loved her. She feels wooden all the time, right? Like she looks like a lizard person that's playing with a human skin.
You're right. That's probably the least wooden she's ever looked.
It's true. And like ever since then, she's only just gotten more and more kind of fake feeling.
And I always enjoy Jean Reno.
Oh yeah,
He was
he's
in
fabulous.
The Transporter, right? He was great in that one.
I don't remember him in the Transporter, but he was
the
definitely in
cop
French
that
Kiss.
was kind of the foil for Jason Statham, wasn't it?
Possible? No, I think that was a different French guy.
Was it? It wasn't Jean
I think
Reno?
it was actually a different French guy.
Yeah. You've seen one.
It's not true, because there's a lot of French guys that would never put in front of the camera. No, I think it was somebody else. I'll have to look it up after, but I think it was someone else. But someone that's easy to mistake for Jean Reno.
Okay.
Okay, but he was
Well,
definitely...
that Jean Reno knockoff was really good
He
in
was
The Transporter.
definitely in French Kiss, which I have
Yes.
also watched again
He
for
was
the
good in that,
100th
for
time
sure.
recently. And
Yo,
yes,
French, aren't you?
that wasn't him, but
No.
yeah.
That's the first line that always comes to mind. If it's not like bull, like young bull.
To be fair, though, The Professional was the first movie I ever saw that had some really graphic, disturbing violence, right? Like the fact that that little boy got murdered was very... Maybe that's why I didn't like it the first time. I think the first time I watched it, I was like a brand new mother. Like had only just recently given birth. And I had a new baby in my arms, right? And the sight of that little boy getting gunned down so viciously.
You didn't want your baby getting killed by
It just
dirty
hurt
DEA
me so
agents?
bad. I can't even tell you guys. The movie Train Spotting, I watched around the same time.
Oh. Well, that was just a poor choice.
Partway through that movie, I actually ran out of the room, locked myself in the bathroom, and cried for an hour, right? So Like I was a very emotional creature as a new mother, so that's probably the biggest reason why I didn't like it the first time. But it grew on me after that.
Great movie.
Not that I ever enjoyed that scene,
No,
but
you're not meant to enjoy
I
that
appreciated
scene.
it more. But yeah, it was the first one where I saw that kind of violence. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Such a good one.
You're about to see violence when I start this next
Oh,
one.
am I? Mm-hmm. All right, guys, sorry. We put a clip in there. We aren't doing editing magic. I was literally just sweating my tits off and asked Mike to let me please pause so I could go put my hair up a little.
Nobody wants Ginger to sweat her tits up. All right, let us go. The next
All right,
movie.
Here we go.
In every age,
There he is again.
there is a cause worth fighting for. In a world. But in the future, the greatest threat to our survival will not be man at all.
Mike picked this one because he wants to rant. I know you.
What's going on? It's war! We're going to war!
Now the youth of tomorrow must travel across the stars to defend our world.
We are a generation commanded by fate to defend humankind.
Everyone fights, no one quits.
Oh, Michael
We are
Ironside.
going in with first wave. You smash the entire area. You kill anything that has more than 2 legs. You get me?
What about dogs?
But they will face an enemy more devastating than any ever imagined.
Here they come! Boom!
Incoming!
Mayday, mayday, this is Rough 2. We're under attack, sir. We need retrieval now.
Someone made a damn mistake.
Someone in Paul Verhoeven.
The bugs laid a trap for us, didn't they?
TriStar Pictures takes you to the front lines of the next frontier.
Kill them all!
Starship Troopers.
When it comes to bugs, I'm with him. Just kill them all. Okay, so I'm going to start out with a little personal anecdote that's very fresh in my mind. Can you still see it?
It's mostly covered by your outfit.
Okay, I won't show you guys, but last night, in regards to bugs, I was out in the turkey yard waiting for my turkeys to get settled on their perches so I could close their house up. So I decided to lean against my tree. I think it's a... Anyway, it's a fruit tree that
It's
I
a
have
tree.
out there. And then I was sitting there going, oh, that bark is kind of rough. It's hurting me a little. And then I leaned back again, and all of a sudden my back felt like somebody had thrown acid on me. And I'll share, like right here, a picture of this tree. I did not see because it was dark, but it's covered in thousands of these little caterpillars that had all this little hair on them that obviously were stinging hairs.
Somebody
And-
said they were bagworm.
No, that's wrong. I looked
That's
up
wrong?
bagworms, and bagworms can't hurt you. These things hurt. I was screaming. My daughter had to come down and wash my back because Mike was way in the back. He didn't know what was going on. And she's scrubbing my back. It took a codeine pill and a couple of shots of Fireball for me to just calm down enough so I could at least go to sleep. I took the butane torch out there and just torched the whole bark of the tree to kill all
Okay,
these
Johnny
worms.
Rico.
They were terrible, guys. Like, I'm usually pretty good about the bugs in Costa Rica most of the time. Like, I hate bugs. Like, really hate bugs. Really, really hate bugs. But I've gotten to the point where I understand the need for them. But anything that can kill you or hurt you, I kill with extreme prejudice. So these things I did. I actually went to bed not sure if I needed to go to the hospital last night, just figuring I would take my chances. So I'm with him on the bugs
Okay.
for the most part.
All right. Fair. Nobody likes the bugs.
That was a bit of a distraction,
It's
but I felt
all
like
right.
it was timely.
So I remember seeing this trailer when it came out because by that point I'd been a fan of the book for about 15 years already.
Okay.
And I was so excited that somebody was making the movie. And I saw that trailer and I went,
It's coming, guys.
but I eagerly went opening night to see Starship Troopers and have never felt so betrayed in my entire life.
Guys, what year was that?
97.
1997. You will not understand the extent of that betrayal until you hear what's coming up. Because Mike has been ranting like vociferously about this movie.
I hate this movie on every level.
Ever since.
Every level.
See, I just disliked it because I thought it was cheesy and stupid.
Okay, there's a level enough when you love the book and they make a movie that's cheesy and stupid. That's bad enough. Don't you think?
Yes, the thing is, for me, I hadn't read the book before. I just watched the movie and I was like, this is cheesy and stupid. To be fair, I was a girl, and I understand that for boys, the experience is different. And we have friends, like we have a ton of friends in the sci-fi community that are deeply divided on this movie. Most people think it's like ingenious as a movie, but they understand that a movie comparison to the book is a completely different matter. But there's like, this has a cult following that's crazy to me because I found it really stupid. Actually, I found this movie really awful.
That's the thing. I mean, set aside the absolute mockery it makes of the book, which I will get into.
You will get into it, guys. Trust me.
It's not even good. It's cheesy on its own merits. Like
It's true.
It looks bad. The dialogue and much of the acting is bad.
It's awful.
With some key exceptions. I mean, Michael Ironside is awesome.
Always. Yeah.
But like on its own merits, as a science fiction movie, I'd have been disappointed.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's bad.
I don't understand anybody that loves this movie. I think it's really, really stupid. But, you know.
And the next biggest betrayal is that they didn't use the powered armor from the book. They land in little shuttles with tiny helmets on.
That's your biggest disappointment?
No. That's not my biggest disappointment. I said that's next up from it just being generically cheesy.
Okay, I was going to say.
That's the next one up. I mean, I understand there was no CGI and there's budgets and everything else. But launching these guys from shuttles instead of shooting out of space torpedo tubes in a powered gorilla suit inside an egg, and the friction with the atmosphere wears it off, and like it was just an incredible visual opportunity if you just followed the opening scene of the book, and that wasn't there at all. Like you shot yourself in the foot.
I always get a little bit lost in how hung up you get on that point, because by the time I did read the book, that didn't stick with me at all, and I find myself like questioning why.
You don't like
that's a criteria for the movie.
You don't like the thought of being in space because there's no air there. You would have a hard time going up in a rocket or a more advanced spaceship. Yes?
Yes, but I don't.
All right. Now let me make my point.
Sure.
Now imagine being in a spacesuit, immobile, cocooned in multiple layers of plastic and metal, fired out of a torpedo tube in space where there's no air.
Now I fucking hate it more.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? Like this is a big deal if you think about it.
I don't understand why Mike makes a big deal about it. The reason I don't understand is because I read that book and that did not leave an impression on me at all. When it comes to science fiction, I'm not that much of a girl. Okay?
But it's not just
it wasn't the thing that stood out.
It's not just about the launch. It's like when they're on the surface, they're supposed to have like rocket packs and full armor and fancy visual displays and like arm-mounted weaponry, and they're running around in a little plastic helmet with a machine gun.
Well, let's be honest. Verhoeven wasn't looking for this movie to be impressive. Actually, he was hoping that this movie would actually make. He was deliberately trying to make everything look bad, so it's not that much of a surprise that he succeeded. Right? He wanted to make it cheesy and stupid and make people laugh at this, because especially if you hadn't read the book, you would watch this movie and think it was cheesy and stupid, and you would laugh at the premise, and you'd probably never read the book because you'd be like, why the hell would I read this cheesy, shitty novel?
I mean, a movie made by a man who didn't read the book, heard from somebody else that it was fascist. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is not a recipe for success.
So I read the book after, but only once I met Mike. And the only reason I did is because of how angry this movie made him. Because based on the book alone, or the movie alone, I would have never read this book because it's exactly the kind of science fiction that I hate. right? Like just space opera stuff that's really just fight, 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 fight. Once he told me that it had political background and a whole, like a huge overwhelming message, I was like, okay, that's up my alley. And when I read it, I was completely sold. Heinlein's now one of my favorites because he really did have a strong message. This wasn't about militaristic anything, actually. The story itself is very compelling.
Right.
The whole concept of the way the society is arranged.
And that's what
is
it's about.
Fascinating.
Johnny
And-
Rico's military service is a vehicle to tell the story of this thought experiment in an exciting way.
Yeah, but I mean, this person from Hollywood decided to bastardize it all so that he could prove a political point, and it fell exactly where it should have, right? Because that's not a good reason to make a movie. That's not a good reason to tell a story. And I think it's a little bit sad that it has the cult following that it does because it doesn't deserve it.
No, I don't think so.
Now, I think a lot of the people that feel that way are people who haven't read the book,
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
And they don't understand how much of a smear it is on the very concepts that Heinlein was trying to kind of piece out.
Well, and people who read the book in the context of their far left-wing university professors telling them how it was all fascist and evil. And
I guess so.
You know, doing...
I don't know. Were they
uh,
assigning Heinlein
critical-
in university?
Yes, so that they can bash it
Oh, really?
and teach young minds what a fascist
We
nightmare
call
it is.
that indoctrination. So this is where we reveal ourselves. I am fiercely, like, almost, what is that, anarcho-capitalist?
I don't know. I don't
Really
like all those
close,
labels.
right? Like, fiercely individualistic, anarcho-capitalist type, right? Like, I am an objectivist, subject of Ayn Rand, pretty much almost to the letter, right? And Heinlein was definitely, had, as far as I'm concerned, most of the concepts right.
Yeah, it depends on what period of his work you're reading. He kind of went a little all over the map over the course of 50 years. Or
That's the
however
way you
long
should
wrote.
be, though. You should evolve over time as you get older and you get
and he
wiser.
thought about different things in different ways.
Indeed. So I
I
appreciate
don't
all that.
agree with some of his stuff quite vociferously, and I don't even agree with everything in Starship Troopers. But when I read it at the age of 12 or whatever I was, it was the first thing that made my mind click and go, the way things are don't have to be this way. This isn't necessarily the best way. And start looking at the world through more open eyes and a more open mind. And that's an important thing. Even if you think Heinlein was completely wrong about the society he envisioned, that's an important thing to do for young people that read the book.
Yeah, the thought experiment alone is worth having, to
Exactly.
be sure. And I mean, for a long time, long time. Oh, shit. Guess we better turn it
Pause.
off. Power outage, guys. We'll be back.
All right.
Once again, we're back. It's very unpredictable here in Costa Rica. The good news is with every single time we have to stop and cut for something, Ginger has another shot of Fireball. Woo! And the commentary gets way more interesting. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, we were talking about Heinlein and his politics, and I was starting to mention that way back for a long time on my Twitter, my pinned post was actually a Heinlein quote, and I shall quote it now. It was, "I am free, no matter what rules surround me. If I find them tolerable, I tolerate them. If I find them too obnoxious, I break them. I am free because I know that I alone am morally responsible for everything I do." And that is 100% my personal philosophy and the way I've conducted myself throughout my entire life. For the most part, reasonably safely. And,
Mine ought to be in that list too.
oh, what's yours?
I don't remember it word for word. That's why I want you to pull
Oh,
up on your
there's
list.
quite a few on here.
About a generation that forgets its history or ignores its history.
Oh, this one would be good for you. Never attempt to teach a pig to sing. It wastes your time and annoys the pig.
That's true, but that's not my quote.
Okay. Women and cats will do as they please, and men and dogs should relax and get used to the idea.
That is also not the
These
quote.
are really good, actually. Don't handicap your children by making their lives easy. That's a good one.
It is.
So let's see. You can have peace or you can have freedom. Don't ever count on having both at once. What did you say?
A generation?
Oh, a dying culture?
Nope.
No. Sex, whatever it is. Oh, I'm tempted to go ahead with that one. Okay. I don't know, man. It's not in here.
Well, pull up my Twitter profile.
Oh, are you on there? Is it in there?
Yeah, it's my pinned tweet.
It's your pinned tweet. I see. I'm sorry, guys. You're going to have to watch me bring it up on my phone because I'm really enjoying this. I follow you on Twitter and I have no idea what you're talking about now. Where are you? Pinned tweet. A generation which ignores history has no past and no future. Absolutely true.
Correct. That's why it's my pinned tweet.
And you know what the thing is? It's not even about ignoring history anymore. At this point in time,
They're rewriting it.
well, the thing is, it's knowing history because the truth is, we don't know how long they've been rewriting it for. And there is a lot of truth in the axiom that the winners write the history.
It's true.
And they never make themselves look bad.
It's true.
So you're always having to question the official narrative on anything, even old text, right?
Of course, there's also truth that where it's possible, the losers write histories too, where they try to cover their asses.
That is also true. And I'm not a big fan of thumping the victors over the head with history because they are the victors and you're supposed to make them feel guilty for it.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of that these days too, and that shouldn't be happening.
any group you could name has been winners and losers at various points throughout history, man.
It's true.
Is what it is.
And I mean, I'm a huge fan of history. I've read a lot of historical texts and documentaries about history. As an anthropological study, I have a huge interest in the way cultures are formed and how social movements have occurred. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. And it does sometimes disturb me now when I see the narrative today around the way the perspective we have on history now that is actually A, deeply unfair, and also B, totally turned around from what was real.
Not only that, it's counterproductive.
Yes.
Which is the worst sin.
It's
you can be
true.
wrong, you can be inaccurate, you can be stupid, but don't be counterproductive.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, all it does is actually create a larger divide than there was before. And for whose purpose that serves, everybody has their favorite demon. Mine sometimes changes, and I feel like there's a mix of them. But the truth is, it's really hard to know. But I do appreciate anybody who questions. Absolutely. Like, anybody that tells you history is settled is actually lying.
It's true.
Because the truth is, nobody who wasn't actually there knows for sure. So it's always wise to look at historical information with an open mind to the possibility that it's skewed, that it's lying.
I read something recently. Look how bad the news is, and now imagine that history is accurate.
Right? Oh my God.
We're not even reading stuff that's right about today.
You're talking about events that happened when nobody even wrote them down, right? And you expect that it's going to be accurate. Like, they already say that in courts, the least reliable evidence is eyewitness testimony, and those are people that were there and are still alive.
Yeah.
And you think you can take, like, oral tradition information from people who have been dead for 1,000 years.
It's the gospel.
And it's been, well, that too, right? And it's been handed down through generation after generation.
There's no way that's a giant game of telephone.
See, that's the thing, right? There's so many people that just buy it, and they will villainize anybody who questions it. That's one of the reasons I love Graham Hancock, because he says from the outset, at every turn, we don't know for sure. So we should ask the question.
See what we can find.
Yes, we should. Yeah, I love the question. Anyway, okay, that went way off on a tangent.
That was exciting though, wasn't it?
It was. I really love these conversations. I can't lie. These are my favorite conversations. I could literally do a whole YouTube channel just talking about these things because this is my favorite subject. For real.
All right, I did promise you a John Hughes.
Here
And
we
you're
go.
right. I'm a stubborn bastard. As soon as you said you knew which one I would pick, I picked a different one.
See, he's always trying to prove me wrong, guys.
You're gonna like it though.
Where do you live?
City.
You have a house?
Apartment.
On a rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
This is John
Lots of
Hughes
things.
movie?
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Oh, I
You
thought
have
he was going to say I
No, I
don't
don't.
need one.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Are you my dad's brother?
I'm your dad's brother, all right.
So you think? Because your mom said so.
Buck Russell had always been the black sheep of the family.
I'm stunned that I'm related to you.
Until
She's a
night.
communist.
Buck, we have a problem with the kids. We're stuck for somebody to watch them.
Oh, please, not that.
Can we trust him?
He's my brother, for God's sake.
I won't let him get into that Satan stuff or anything with chicks. I'll leave that for me. I'm kidding, huh?
Now, he's making them breakfast,
Cigar?
No thanks.
making them lunch,
I had no idea this was John Hughes movie. What?
I think it
making
is.
them crazy.
What did you do?
He's irresistible.
I want to ask you why I'm so attracted to you.
I wouldn't even guess at that.
He's unbelievable.
I'm Anita Borga.
I'm Buck Melanoma. Molly Russell's wart.
He's John Candy as Uncle Buck.
What does he like to drink? I've been leaving the toilet seats up. Is that what the blue water is? It's not good for him.
Uncle Buck, the new comedy from John Hughes.
Oh my
You have
god.
much more hair in your nose than my dad.
How nice of you to notice.
I'm a kid, that's my job.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
I forgot that Macaulay Culkin was in that movie. Here, pause it.
Nope. That's it. That's the end.
That's the fifth one?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm going to alleviate my ears because it's so hot in here, guys. Oh my god, I'm dying. Okay, so thank you for picking this one. This is literally one of my favorite movies of all time. Okay. One of the best John Candy movies ever. And there are a lot of good ones, don't get me wrong. I love John Candy. But this is the best John Candy movie ever.
I agree.
And
Well, this are Cool Runnings. I love both
no,
those movies.
this one's way better than Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings it has a lot of like critical acclaim, and it was a good story, but it definitely wasn't the best John Candy movie. In Cool Runnings, he wasn't really the star.
It's true.
So
The guy who says, "I'm feeling very Olympic today," was absolutely the star.
it's true.
That moment.
This was the best John Candy movie ever made. And okay, so it's funny because this has always been one of my favorite movies. And when our kids were younger, how old do you think Allison was when we watched this? 14?
So I was going to get somewhere around there.
Okay, so his eldest daughter was about 14. My son was 14 at the time. And all of our other kids were a little bit younger, but they were all kind of old enough to get it. And when we sat them down for family movie night and we put on this movie, it was so funny how much every single one of them recognized that I was Uncle Buck, right? Like his whole, you know what's funny? The best part of this movie was when he shows up to that boyfriend and he opens the trunk and shows him the baseball bat, right? And just mildly threatens him just so he understands where he stands. And that's when Mike's daughter turned to me and said, "He's you." I said, "Yes, he is." No question. Because all of our children's boyfriends and girlfriends got that treatment from
They
me.
knew to fear you.
I was always very open and very friendly to our kids' friends, but every single one of them, I mean, every single boy that came in the house to date one of the girls got told, "I have a septic tank
I thought that's what you were going to say. You were
and a
open
shovel,
about.
and I'm not afraid to go to jail." Just so you know. I mean, we don't do these for mild infractions, but if you push too far, right, hurt one of my girls, I'm sure nobody would miss you. So, yeah, I've always identified with Uncle Buck quite a bit.
As you should.
That was
As
such a
you
great
should.
movie. The kids were so obnoxious. Like, anybody who's had teenage kids understands what it was like to be Uncle Buck, because these kids are jerks. Like, they're total jerks. But if you kind of relate to them on a certain level, you can have a bit of a
You can work your way through it.
quiet respect.
Around
Yeah,
it.
you just have to set barriers. This movie was about what it's like to set barriers for children that have never seen what they look like. Right? I've always been a bit of a disciplinarian, right? I was a bit of a hard case. It was always super fun. I didn't have the normal hang-ups. Like my mother really hated mess and noise, and that was never a problem for me. The kids always had a ton of fun, but they also always understood that there were certain rules and that those rules were hard and fast, and that breaking those rules would be a swift punishment. Yeah, I can't even talk. It's the fireball talking, guys. So, I mean, once you pushed me that far, you heard about it.
Game over, man. It's game over.
I mean, they didn't all get a baseball bat. I mean, let's not go that
It's not
far.
actually a psycho.
No.
So, what do you think of the trailer relative to the movie?
It was good. It had the right feel. Right?
I couldn't believe they used Wild Thing. It's the last time
Funny
you
though,
heard
right?
that.
A long time. It was funny. It was pretty good. It had the right hijinksy feel. It still had that same narrator, right?
That dude did like every movie trailer for 20
funny?
years, man.
I never even noticed before, but
In
now
a world full of rebellious teenagers,
it's true.
there can be only one Uncle Buck.
Oh my fucking god!
It's okay. I already stopped recording the...
You're gonna have to bleep out that F word because I'm a little bit frustrated.
Okay, but I might leave in the part where you tell me to bleep out the F word.
Okay. Oh, the power keeps flickering in and out, guys. All right. It's a good thing we're almost done recording. So anyway, the point is, I don't even remember what my point was.
Damn power flickers. Distracting.
It did distract. No, you know what? The trailer would have made me go see the movie just because it looked like a lot of fun. Right? And because at the time, and still now, love John Candy. I would have totally signed up for anything of his. Right, we're Canadian, so John Candy was like a household name for us. I was a huge SCTV fan.
You know something? I've probably told you this, but my first year psychology courses at McMaster, it was like a hugely popular course, so the prof didn't actually teach it. He had recorded video lessons.
That sounds like cheating.
And a TA with each. Just because you could break it up so it wasn't 6,000 people. Like, you just can't physically fit them, right?
I guess so.
So we were in like small classes the size of 30 or 40 people with a teaching assistant and videos of the professor. And also, I'm just going to ignore that.
Right.
And also, there were videos in there that the professor presented in his recording to illustrate some of the concepts. And Martin Short and John Candy were in them because they went to McMaster too.
Oh, wow.
So when they were students there,
I had an inside line.
when they were students there, they recorded these videos with my psych prof.
That's very cool, actually.
Now, these videos were old by the time I was there because I'm a lot younger than those guys. But yeah, it's like, by this point, they were like huge famous stars, right? Like I started that course in 1989.
Oh, wow. That's actually really cool.
So that was fun. It's like, look, it's a 19-year-old Martin Short and John Candy.
Martin Short's a funny one.
It's true.
John Candy I've always loved, though. He left us way too early.
Yeah, that was sad.
For sure. Oh, that was a good one. Uncle Buck is one of my all-time favorites. So, yeah, I would have totally gone to watch that movie on that trailer, but also just on John Candy alone. And I've watched that movie at least a dozen times. I never get tired of it.
Funny every time.
I am surprised. I didn't remember that Macaulay Culkin was in it. Isn't that funny?
It was pre-Home Alone.
Yeah, it was pre-Home Alone. Oh, interesting.
Which was also John Hughes.
It's funny because Uncle Buck really doesn't have a... Like, it's not a big one. When you think of John Candy, I think that one gets kind of left in the background below a bunch of other ones.
Undeserved.
Yeah, it's absolutely my favorite one. And maybe it is because I relate to this character. Not so much the whole kind of single F-up, which he also is. It's totally the parenting style that I relate to.
Yeah, you know what? Like, John Candy's funny, and there was stuff I enjoyed, of his. But I was never... never really into his style of comedy much.
His is kind of slapsticky,
But
and you hate
that's
slapstick.
not my thing. But this one, again, it's the parenting thing, right?
Mhm.
I didn't see this movie until long after, and
Yeah.
I had kids, and I related to his character a great deal,
It's
more
funny.
than I do in any other John Candy movie.
I wonder if I would have related to it the same if I'd watched it when I was a teenager,
Hmm.
which I didn't. I watched it when I was an adult and already had kids of my own, and I definitely related to his character. Maybe that's why it didn't resonate the same way a lot of other John Hughes movies did, because it tapped into the recognition of a character that wasn't really John Hughes's bag.
Yeah, right. We weren't relating to the teenagers. We were relating to the adult, which is
Right?
kind of unusual in a lot of his movies.
It's true. Oh, that's an interesting thing I didn't notice before. But yeah, John Hughes usually focused on kind of the coming of age feel.
Yeah, right. Your 16 Candles, Breakfast Club.
But this didn't
Pretty
do
in
that.
Pink.
The character development and the character arc in this movie was absolutely John Candy's more than anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. The teenager, what was her name? Audrey?
I think so, yeah.
The teenager, there was some character development in her character, but very little. The truth was, this was about character development for the adult, which is unusual for John Hughes.
Yeah. But naming those John Hughes movies, all I can picture is that grandpa on the phone when Long Duck Dong is listening. He's wearing a red Argyle sweater, tan slacks, and red shoes. No, he's not retarded.
I don't even know what he's talking about now, guys. Like, I remember Long Duck Dong and the grandpa, but I'm not even sure. I don't remember that scene. What are you talking? We're going to have to watch. Is that 16 Candles? It is 16
I
Candles.
think 16 Candles,
We're going to have to watch that again.
No, he's not retarded.
John Hughes always did the peripheral characters really, really well.
It was good to be a teen in the 80s with John Hughes at his
It's
peak.
true, actually. It's true. Most of my formative years, I can pin a John Hughes movie to, and I think I'm definitely not even remotely alone in that. So, anyway, okay, good
Well,
choices.
there you go. 5 trailers.
Yeah, good
5 very
choices.
different feelings.
Yeah. You know what? Here's my proposal for anybody who's watched this far into the video, okay? See if you like this idea, because I had a thought while we were doing this, that it might be nice the next one we do is we pick like B-movie cult classics.
Ah, okay.
Right?
I know you're thinking about Bruce Campbell right now.
Oh, that's a good choice, but also because I mentioned Amazon Women on the Moon, I'm thinking like in that genre, right? Probably I know more than Mike knows about those movies because you didn't really watch those, but I was friends with all the comic book nerds, so I watched them all. Oh.
That's right. I was a literary nerd, locked in my room reading all the books
It's true, reading all the books and listening to the Smiths.
on repeat.
Indeed. All right, so you guys, just fill up the comments with your takes on all of that.
Yeah,
because
and-
I know every single one of you's seen every single one of those movies, and if you haven't, you've got to go do it now, and then come back and comment.
And if you have ideas for a theme set of trailers that we should react to, give us that
Yeah,
too.
I love the trailer reactions. This is so much fun for us. So yeah, I would absolutely be welcome to ideas for more themes. But in the meantime, you just play those ones again.